Today,
we're building a chicken orchard.
only one came out. Kevin Espiritu here from Epic Gardening. We have Jacques.
The garden hermit.
The garden hermit is here. I snuck over to his house. I'm still working on the coop at my house. Jacques has this amazing DIY coop that he did, which you can check out on his Instagram. But today we're doing something I don't know if we've seen anyone do before.
Yeah, it's kind of like this idea that we mulled over and thought about.
Yeah.
And what we want to do is basically build a chicken orchard that's also a chicken run.
Right, because he's got the coop, he has the indoor run to protect from hawks or when they're inside for the night. Of course, there's this beautiful spot out here. You can see them scratching in the ground. It's one of the biggest benefits of having chickens for the garden is to have them picking around and scratching and dropping and just sort of fertilizing your soil.
Yep.
However, open air, there's a lot of predator birds in our area. We want to make sure that these little guys do not get eaten, but I think we got to introduce them first.
Yeah, let's introduce all the chickens who are the main characters here. We have Chirp, which is a buff Orpington. She's the friendliest of the bunch. And then, sorry, a lot of funny sounds. And then we have Peep right here, and she is a Easter egger. So she just laid a bluish green egg, which was great. And then right here is Toast. She is a Wyandotte. I'm not sure if I'm saying that entirely right. And last but not least is Sweet Potato, the Rhode Island Red.
Beautiful. We're gonna build you guys an orchard. Let's do it.
Let's go for it.
Now we know the cast of characters. Let's build in this orchard. We have some trees selected, but why don't we just talk about the whole plan here and why they're spaced? Seems like at Epic Gardening, we like to space our trees really close together. So we have some trees. Which trees do we select?
All right, so we got like a kind of a funky mix here.
Yeah.
So over here, I have a loquat. It's a champagne variety, I believe. Mm-hmm. Then tried and true Eureka lemon.
Yep.
And a classic, at least in San Diego, is a black mission fig. So that's gonna be this. I got this from a cutting that I started. Mm-hmm. And over this way, we have a dwarf mulberry, which makes like a Pakistani style mulberry.
Mm-hmm. Longer ones.
Yeah, the longer dark ones. And then the last is the panache fig. So very excited about that. Those are delicious.
Yeah. So we're doing this because eventually, especially the loquat, if you guys seen the loquat at my house, it grows up and you can prune it to some sort of like umbrella structure, which would be really good because he's got some plants that are natives back here and he'll grow this up and sort of canopy over that entrance to the coop. Here with the citrus, it's not going to create such a canopy, it's more of a bush structure, but you can still prune it to that. But citrus is evergreen in San Diego, so you want this biased either forward or backwards. The reason why it's backwards is because this will drop leaves, this will drop leaves, and this will drop leaves. So right now, if these were all grown in, these would have no leaves on them and the citrus would still be getting hit, loquat would still be getting hit, neither of which drop their leaves. So you got to think about that sun placement, but let's talk about why is it spaced so close together.
Right, so that is north going that way, so these would block otherwise if they didn't drop.
Yep.
And what we're going to do is have the spacing pretty tight, so it's kind of like a backyard orchard culture, but we want to have enough space that we could actually walk through. And so everything is about 5 feet apart. And Chirp loves to be held. She's the friendliest of all the bunch.
Little Chirp.
And so the idea is that we are close to the fence, but not too close. It could grow over that, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But we still have a little walkway here.
Yep.
So the chickens will be protected. As these grow in, they'll provide some sort of canopy, which will deter things like hawks from wanting to fly in and really get in.
You can't be having anyone Chirp. I'm adopting.
No,
spiritually,
I mean,
I'm a spiritual godfather of Chirp.
But
yeah. So here's the thing though. Chickens also will destroy a lot of different things. Right. And so we're going to protect these in a couple different ways. We have the Birdie's tree surround, which you grab right there and just show that off a little bit.
Yep.
So it's basically a birdie's bed, but it's a little smaller. You can use it as an herb bed. We use it often to gate off a tree and maybe even raise it a little bit. We got some clay soil here in San Diego, so if you do that, you get a little bit of a buffer from the clay.
Yep.
And you can plant it up, especially if it's a dwarving tree or you're gonna prune it, it's okay to do that. And then we've got something special we're gonna do to the top of it to make sure that little, oh, you good? I think she thought I was gonna do something weird, but I'm just giving her some love. To make sure that they don't peck away at those roots. So why don't we set the tree surrounds up and we'll get to it.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, Chirp, you're down. You can see how one looks. It's pretty simple. It's just a very small birdie's bed, but we will construct this very quickly. So this is just a normal alu zinc coating. There's no actual paint on the outside. It'll hold up really, really well. Little safety strip, little instructions. Let's see how fast we can get this baby built.
It's actually funny, when We put some of these in at Kevin's place. I saw them and that's when I was kind of thinking about, oh man, this would be really good for the chickens. Just because of that protection element that you get.
Yep. It also frames it up nicely.
Yeah.
It kind of cleans it up, the look of it. But
For
then
sure.
Of course, when you get the chickens, there's an added benefit where they'll, especially a young tree with feeder roots, they would go to town on this
Yeah,
thing.
there's a very low chance they would survive if they were just straight in the ground, I think. I think the chickens would probably do some work on it.
You're probably right. With this one, you really can just hand tighten it if you want to, or you can just take a little screwdriver on a low torque and just hand tighten the opposite side.
Pretty excited to get some birdies beds in here.
Yeah, this is your first one.
Yeah, these are the first ones that I'm gonna have. Starting off small.
Hey, it's small, but it's not, because this
Yeah.
idea, I haven't seen it. Like I said, I haven't seen the chicken orchard concept. I'm sure someone's come up with it. I'm not saying we invented it, of course, but the application is a really unique one, and I think your little chickies are gonna be happy.
I think so. And then I'm gonna be happy when I start harvesting that fruit.
Yeah, exactly. Man, this much fruit. Plus, if you really think about it, over time, the chickens are gonna drop freely, right, in this area. And so I don't know how much fertilizing you'll have to even do.
Yeah, actually, the further of the plan is that we'll fence off little areas and actually grow some like chicken forage so they have stuff to eat, and we'll just fence off sections at a time.
So you just sprinkle the ground?
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll just sprinkle some whatever is in a forage mix, something that they like to eat,
Fence it off to let it grow.
Yep.
Then let them in.
and like kind of do it like a tiny rotational grazing.
Actually, it's the opposite. So what a lot of farmers would do, especially market gardeners, is they'll do the chicken tractor where they move the chickens over areas, but usually that's if you have a lot more
Yeah.
area. In this case, what you do is you do the almost exact inverse where the chickens can go anywhere, but the crop gets grown separately.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
That's
really
the
smart
idea.
for an indoor, not indoor, but for a small scale
Yeah,
farm.
because I only have this much space to work with, so I want to
Yeah.
maximize it.
Okay, that's that.
Cool.
Just gotta get the safety strip on here. So when I put these on, I usually like to have it on a flat side because the vinyl edge is super, super strong. It's UV resistant up to 100 or negative 100 temperatures, so it's gonna really last. Sometimes it can kind of pop a little bit and you just wanna make sure it's on a flat side so it is less likely to do that. But it's extremely durable.
Yeah,
Okay.
they've held up for a long time in your garden,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. So you just match cut it and you're good. All right, we have our first tree surround in. I think we should put the citrus in then, yeah? And it pretty much is going right here.
Yep.
Tree surround's in. Now we have to move it away because we need to plant. So we are gonna build the soil up a bit, but you still want it in the native soil.
Right. So
Take
you
a
can
look how much
see
higher it is. Yep.
maybe 4 inches.
Yeah. So we'll move this aside. And we actually have a whole video on the channel about how to plant citrus perfectly. So you can watch that. We'll do an abridged version here. Just come in with a little trenching shovel. This soil should be nice and pliable because of,
Chickens have been working.
yeah, the chicks. I don't really think we need to go too deep.
Nope.
And actually with citrus in our area, you tend to bias planting a little high anyways because of the drainage problems.
Yeah, so that's another bonus of the tree surround is it's always going to be a little high.
I mean, that's probably enough.
Yeah, I think we're good there.
I just hit a little root though. Let's see if we can
Clean that edge up.
chop that out a bit.
Yeah, we're going to have a little competition with this, but that's fine. Just have to make sure I water.
Yeah, you hear that?
Yep.
Yeah. All right, that should be good. Okay. So
that's
here's
gonna
what
be
we
good.
want to know, actually. Lift that out.
Yep.
In. That's perfect. Now we're flush with the top of the surround, which is exactly what we wanted. Okay, so here, I'll help on this side. I'm gonna want to get this guy out.
Yep.
Give it a couple taps. One thing to know about citrus as we pull this off is you don't need to get a dwarf citrus necessarily. You can just prune it to be a dwarf. So standard size, dwarf, semi-dwarf, it doesn't really matter. What more matters for the rootstock is any sort of quality it might impart, like it can tolerate clay soil or it's resistant to a disease. The pruning is what will keep it a dwarf. You don't have to worry about getting a specific dwarf if
Yeah.
you want to keep it smaller.
Some of the dwarfs are really quite small.
Quite small, yeah. So we'll just rough the edges up here a little bit. And why don't you talk about the soil mix you chose, Jacques?
Yeah, so I found this local soil mix that's actually made with a loam. So that means it's actually not just like woody material like a traditional potting mix. It actually has some amount of sand in there. And the nice thing about that is that A, it drains really well, but B, it's not going to decompose over time. So as I plant this out, I don't want to have to keep thinking about adding soil. I want to put the soil in and let it settle and live its life.
Yep. So what I'm going to do is I'll lift the root ball up slightly because we do want a little bit under. I can see chirp coming in on this already. We have a solution to help out with any chicken scratch.
If you can't find like a soil that is like that, you could just use your native dirt. But I
did
wanted to try
native
this
dirt.
out.
Yeah, I mean, I did native dirt in my whole hedgerow, and those citrus are blowing up.
Yeah, they look
So
great.
it's not mandatory to have a specific potting mix.
Eventually I'll get mulch and mulch this whole area too.
Yep. You might be wondering why we're not fertilizing. The potting soil is going to have a decent amount of fertilizer, but also with citrus and with a lot of trees, I'm sort of opting towards this method of just put it in. Don't do a lot of fertility in the planting hole, just kind of put it in and let it be, and that's worked quite well.
Yeah, kind of the idea is that you don't want to make it too comfortable. Right?
Exactly. Yeah, and also it's really settling in anyways at the start, so it doesn't have a lot of action to do. It's trying to just get its roots established.
How do you think we are? A little bit more?
Level-wise, I think we're good. I think we probably could add a good chunk more, because you can grow, remember, up to the graft point. You can
Oh, that's
vary.
true.
We've pointed the graft point away from the sun, so there's not a lot of exposure on that graft, which is generally going to help it last a bit longer there without damage. Citrus really is prone to burning. This will naturally sink a little bit too.
Yeah, just because
So-
it's a mineral soil doesn't mean it's not going to settle.
Yeah, we'll lose like a ½ inch, maybe an inch. So this is perfect.
Cool.
We'll go right up to the brim, especially on these birdies beds. What I always recommend people do is you go right up to the rim. You'll be surprised, especially in the bigger models, like how much it'll drop off, and you'll need to top it off anyway. So it's better to go all the way up.
And it's okay right now. We're going to leave a little bit because we're going to do a little bit of an extra step at this point.
Yeah, which we have right here. So why don't you explain why we're putting mesh over the top?
Yeah, so kind of my idea was that this is helping, first of all, but they could still jump in here and scratch up the roots. So the plan is that we're gonna cut this and slot it over the tree and fold the edges into the birdie's bed itself. And that's gonna stop them from being able, like they might try to dig, but they're not gonna be able to get anything.
Yep. And then you'll mulch over the top of that even.
Exactly,
Yeah.
so it'll all be hidden. It might not last forever, but as long as it gets established before the chickens wreck it, I'm happy with that.
Yep.
All right, so I'm gonna cut a little channel to the center. I think, let's do one more.
Yeah.
I've never done this, so I don't know how this is gonna work.
Makes sense. You just you got to slot it around that trunk.
Yeah, so let's go like that.
Yeah, I would actually cut an entire
Right.
2x2 out there because that trunk's going to size up.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and just chop.
Yeah, I'd chop that whole thing out. Boom. Using tin snip's so satisfying.
It's so satisfying.
So
It's the right
satisfying.
tool for the job.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, there you go. Now you got a nice little collar type of thing
Okay.
going on there.
So that's the main idea, and now probably the tricky part's gonna be folding this under.
Yeah, so you're gonna have to overcut it. We'll overcut these edges by maybe 1 link, so then you can fold it in. right?
Exactly.
A little bit of. What are you doing?
Got a little feisty back
I think
there.
he was running, or she was running at me. Anyways, it was a little bit of a fit job here, but I think it will make a difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now what we want to do is, oh, what a beautiful bark. This is orchid bark mulch that you picked up. So this will be a good way to protect the surface of the soil,
Yep.
but also just to kind of hide this mess. Looks like Chirp is a little excited.
Yeah, I think she's gonna try to get in there and
I
dig.
guarantee she will. And I guess we'll have our first test case, right? See how it goes.
Chicken approved.
She's ready to attack. There's nothing in here for you. Nothing but metal and dashed dreams.
I was trying to say that, but I couldn't think of what the saying was.
Couldn't either. Little long hang for suspense. All right, let's do this.
I mean,
that looks pretty
I
clean.
think that looks really good.
That looks pretty dang clean, I have to say. What do you think, Chirp? What do you think? She's eating the bark.
She's just doing a little test taste
I think
there.
she quickly learned that's not for her. Well, maybe not. Why
She's
do you
like-
want to eat bark, you weirdo?
She's just trying it out.
Oh, you know what? She's just picking it up and dropping
She's
it.
living her life.
Okay.
Let's see. I guess the question is, how long will this stay here?
Yeah, exactly.
Now that I'm seeing
So
it.
we have 5 more trees to put in. Well, let's get to it.
All right, so I think I'm pretty happy with how that one came out, but let's get into the rest.
I'll see you later, dude.
Where are you going?
I got some work to do in my
All right.
yard.
Well, you have to leave the chicken though.
I don't know about that.
Break up this root ball. This is definitely root bound because you can see the roots spiraling. So I'm gonna just get in there and be pretty aggressive. Try to unloosen this guy. And if you break the roots, it's not that big of a deal just because they will just regrow from those roots anyway. So I really want to break up the spiraling that's going on. So right here is the reason why you want to break up that root spiraling. The reason why is because if it's spiraled, it's going to keep wanting to spiral around because that's how the growth tip is already going. If you break it up, the roots are now free to actually go into the soil or outwards or wherever they want to go. And honestly, these are kind of long. Like I could rip this one right here, shorten it a little bit because I'm just going to spiral it when I put it in the hole anyway. So it's all about giving the roots some space to actually spread out and not just continue to spiral.
I'm back. Jacques, you've done a great job. This looks incredible.
Yeah.
The mulch looks really nice.
Yeah.
And it's been long enough. It's been a few hours, and how have the chickens responded to the mulch?
So they've come and they've pecked at it and tried to eat it.
Yeah.
And one jumped in there, but they almost have no interest. You can see
he's going around the edge.
they really like the
Yeah.
edges. So they're probably going to dig out the edges. That's probably going to be the bigger concern.
Yeah.
But honestly, like this looks way better than I thought.
It
Even
looks
like
really
even
good.
in my head.
Well, as soon as they hit the wire mesh, I think they go, oh, not for me.
Yeah.
And it's
for
fine.
sure.
So all we're doing now is just watering this in. There's actually a couple other mods that Jacques will be making to his chicken orchard, so definitely follow along. We'll be doing some updates here, but it's water it in, maybe brush some dirt off. We'll mulch the ground here pretty soon, and then that idea that Jacques had for that patch of forage might be over in this corner over here. But that's pretty much it. If you guys like this, shoot us a subscribe. There's a lot more coming with Jacques and his chickens, as well as my chickens over at the Epic Homestead. We're doing the full coop build pretty soon. Stay tuned, good luck in the garden, and keep on growing.